Well, I want to point out some other information on longevity, and I have read articles about claims by billionaires, tech billionaires, that they're going to live 1,000 years old or probably live forever. And I used to see articles, and they pretty much disappeared off the internet, about, and you probably could research this on YouTube, probably hear about when they're talking about there could be a certain type of vaccination that could be given to a person that if they get it in time, they'll start reverse aging. In other words, a 90-year-old might look like a 22-year-old and all this type of stuff, and you'll live like almost indefinitely. Now, back in the day, and I know some people that are very atheistic don't believe this, but I'll tell you this: I'm neither very religious, but I'm definitely not atheistic. Okay, I do think the Bible is historically accurate, even though it seems like there's a lot of weird stuff in there. I have to agree, yeah, there is some really weird stuff in here, but it probably is very historically accurate. And I don't want to go into reasons why I say that, because when you look at what the Jewish historians wrote down, and when they finally got together many, many, many centuries later, they found that all their writings agreed with each other, which means there was a high accuracy in, bringing, down the actual written word from the beginning of time. Now, one animal out there I noticed that is very unique for using frequencies to heal is a cat. As a matter of fact, that's a veterinarian will tell you that a cat, if they fall off a really high height and they break a lot of bones, they'll heal up in almost miraculous time. I'm not saying overnight, but a dog, if that happened to a dog, it wouldn't work. It's actually that frequency machine that the cat has in there, the purring mechanism, that actually helps it to heal. It's something that helps it to fix itself. But all animals, except for humans, primates, one species of bat, and guinea pigs, produce their own vitamin C. Now, this is something I want to get on with. I've been talking about this. Now, when you look at studies of when they did studies with mice, and they try to give them more supplements, like more different vitamins, they actually did not actually live longer. But here's the catch. If they take the vitamin C capability out of mice, their lifespan is reduced by more than half. That's the catch. You see, most animals, well, virtually all animals produce their own vitamin C. I'm going to give you a little factoid. When an animal reaches maturity, it actually lives 8 to 10 times longer than how long it took to get to maturity. So, if it takes a couple years to get to maturity, it might live to be 16, 20 years, whatever, dog or cat, whatever, right? A human is only 3 to 4 times from the time it takes to get to maturity. So if a human takes 20 to 22 years to get to maturity, so that puts him at 3 times, 60 to 66 years, or 4 times 80 to 88 years. And you could see that's about correct. That's normally what the lifespan of humans are. If we had that vitamin C capability in us again, that would be 8 to 10 times. So in other words, it would be 160 years to 220 years. That would be your lifespan. And when you're 100 years old, you'll be about looking like you're 50. So you just can't take... Now, if you take vitamin C pills, it's more than likely going to extend your life. It's more than likely going to help you from getting more bouts of sickness. It's going to help repair a lot of different problems that you might have in your body, even addressing problems with the heart. Not to say that it's guaranteed to work to stop a heart attack from occurring, but vitamin C is actually not a vitamin. It's a very powerful hormone that repairs the body and also neutralizes toxins in the body and free radicals. So it does a hell of a lot, and also helps repair the collagen, which goes all throughout the body. When you have problems with your back and whatever the heck it is, that it does that. Now, the trick to getting the vitamin C into the body is actually true liposoluble vitamin C, which you really can't make with this electronic cleaner method. It's a little bit better. You see these things on YouTube, they'll tell you. And it does get expensive if you're going to buy 10 or 20 grams of vitamin C in a true liposomol variety, because that'll be $10 or $20 a day, which will run you $3,650 to $7,300 a year net money. After your tax money, that's what you'd be spending on it. So, but actually, I'm actually looking into something else where we can use transfection, an electronic device, which using transfection to help the vitamin C get into the cells a lot better. It seems to be working. I've been experimenting with it. Now, I want to say that, though, that the elite more than likely do know a lot of methods whereby they're going to live a hell of a long time. Now, one guy I want to point out there, I know Joan Rivers. I'm not even sure if this lady is actually they nearly killed her. I know she was, boy, this is a suspicious death. You remember her, Joan Rivers? But, I'm bringing her up because Joan Rivers is a person she would have been interested in looking 20 years old at 100. She would have really been into that. And actually, she looked great for her age, really great. But a lot of women would be interested in it. But one thing also, where nutrition is very vital and where it's proven that it's vital, you ever hear this thing where a low carbohydrate diet is very helpful? You know what the deal is with that? It's not exactly the carbohydrates that are necessary. Sometimes they are, like simple sugars could be toxic, it could be like a free radical. But actually, it's the number of calories, the number of nutrients per calorie that you're consuming. So if you take in carbohydrates with the good nutrition, it's competing with that good nutrition, and that good nutrition does not get uptaked into the body. That's why a lot of times calorie restriction, when you're taking very good foods with low calories, works so well, because it's almost having that liposomic effect, because your body needs these things so bad that you're absorbing more of these nutrients per calorie. That's actually very much the reason why there's higher lifespans in some areas of the world where they're not exposed to that much carbohydrates. I know the carbohydrates could be toxic in some ways, because like simple sugars are basically almost like a poison. But the point is, if you can, even if you had high carbohydrates, and if you can get those essential nutrients into your body, despite they were competing with carbohydrates to get, that were being absorbed into your body. But say you got the nutrients in your body in vast amounts. Like, in other words, you could take them in orally, but if you're taking a lot of carbohydrates, the nutrients aren't going to be absorbed. That's why these mouse studies where they gave them extra supplements didn't really work to give them greater longevity. But the converse is, if they modify the DNA of the mice, of a mouse, not to produce their own vitamin C, their lifespan is decreased drastically. They don't even live half as long. That's why it is probably very solid information that if we had that vitamin C capability in us, not just taking it orally, in us, we would live more than twice as long and be youthful. In other words, whatever you look like at 60 years old, you look like, it'd be like you're 29. That type of deal. You're thinking, oh, I don't want to be 60 and be 80 years old from 80 to 200. No, actually, when you're 100, you'd be like you're 49 or 50. That's how it would work. You would age much slower. But there is a possibility that the liposomic type of nutrients could actually make this effect happen. Now, the elite don't share this information. I swear this is what they're doing. This is part of what they're doing. I seen their dog and pony show articles where they were saying, "Oh, I'm eating a healthy organic breakfast. I'm taking these vitamins." They're not telling you all they're doing. They're not telling you all they're doing. You know, if you are a tech billionaire, how much is it going to really cost? How much is it going to bother you to take the best liposomic vitamin C, glutathione, or other types of vitamins that are really in a true liposomic delivery mechanism that get absorbed directly in the cells? Say you spend $15,000 a year on special vitamins. How much is that really? How much does that matter to you if you're a billionaire? It's like nothing. It's almost like you can't fathom that because there's so many zeros at the end of $1 billion, right? But you take 3 zeros off, that's like a millionaire spending $15. That's really what it is. Okay? But there's other things going on, and I think well, I'm going to say this. If you ever looked at Vladimir Putin from the year 2000 or the year 2005 or the year 2007, actually back then he looked older. You know, one of the jokes they have out there in Russia is that who says there's not new faces in Russian politics? They're just assuming he had a facelift. I actually don't think that's the case. I think Vladimir Putin is using the Lakosky multi-wave oscillator, which was basically when George Lakosky was killed and hit by that limousine in New York City, and then they had World War II. That's where the devices were in Italy and France, and they had World War II and the German invasions. The technology was lost until very recently. Now, in the case, but again, Putin's an elitist. With the average Russian person, they're driving on, if they're driving through Siberia during the snow thaws, they're going through roads like this. Putin's an elitist, and if the device cost him $15,000, that's nothing. That's nothing, because actually the ones I saw on eBay they're not to the specifications that I got from Italy. Now, what that device does, and I know some people say it brings up the frequencies of the cells, the harmonic frequencies of the cells, but I don't think that's really what it's doing. I think it may be a side effect of it, a net overall effect, but really what it's doing is bringing energies into the cells that are in and around us that we don't see, life-giving energies. The planet itself is bombarded with these type of energies because when they put that device in a Faraday cage, because they put it in the Faraday cage because the device was interfering with, other electronic equipment that was in the area, they found it did not work as well. They were using a Lakosky multi-wave oscillator on plants, animals, and people, and it did not work as well in the Faraday cage. So obviously, it's pulling in some kind of energies in and around us. Now, the way things are with people today, they're too busy to see these truths, even if they were laid out to them. Like one of the simplest truths out there is that, even just taking oral vitamin C could probably add a few years to your life. I'm not going to say it's going to add double or anything like that, but it probably could add a few years to your life, no problem, and keep you from getting as sick. Now, if you were to spend, I'm not sure about this, but I think the elite are doing this, but you were to spend enough money on liposomol vitamin C and glutathione and some of the other true liposomol vitamins that are out there, which would probably run you $15,000 a year, you would probably extend your life decades. And I think this is part of what they're doing in combination with these high-tech frequency devices that are bringing in energies in and around us. But for the most part, people are devoid of, exposure to these things, just as, being out in a field in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to get exposure to these things. You're not going to be able to buy one of these devices in Walmart. They're not going to have them on, the stuff they sell on eBay's. I don't think it's anywhere near the real McCoy. But there's something I am looking into, and actually saw some other documents on the net about transfection and using transfection to have a liposomal type delivery of vitamins directly into the cells. Maybe it's going to work. I don't know. Right now, I've been taking lots of vitamin C and using some of these electronic pad type devices at 4 hertz. And I know the devices cause a multiplying effect of whatever you consume. So I figured the vitamin C is one of the safe things to do. So I'm taking a lot of vitamin C while I'm doing that. But, quite honestly, the people that probably are going to gravitate towards doing this more than the Americans, you're probably going to see this more amongst the Asians. The Asians are the people that, take the healthful products. They're the people that actually, take the alkaline water and do some of the more radical things for health. And actually, their longevity is a little bit higher than even in Europeans. But I think there are some simple methods that we might be able to unravel here to add maybe decades to the average lifespan of a person and knock out virtually all disease. One thing that really piqued my interest, because I read a lot on the vitamin C, the intravenous vitamin C. Also read the books by Thomas Levy, Dr. Levy, and Dr. Cathcart. And also saw the detail on the bird flu patient that was in New Zealand that almost died, that was in a coma, and they were giving him intravenous vitamin C. But what they actually gave him, when the hospital wouldn't give him any more intravenous vitamin C, they gave him Live On Labs liposomal vitamin C. And I heard that what I've seen from the studies from the doctors, that stuff's actually more effective than intravenous because it uploads directly into the cells. But that stuff can get expensive. I mean, if you're taking, you say, oh, what's $10, what's $20 or whatever, You do that every day, it adds up. It adds up fast, man. That's why these people that smoke a lot they're broke, right? And smoking and drinking, you go broke. I don't do that stuff. But if I was going to blow money on something, I'd be blowing it on vitamins, which is I do buy a lot of vitamins. But the deal is that there may be a cheaper way to do that with electronic methods that cause transfection in the blood cells. And so you could be taking cheap mega vitamin C in bulk powder form that you could buy in a 10 kilo, 22 pound bucket, and it would be costing you pennies a day to get vitamin C directly uploaded into the cell. So I actually went over this on another video, and it was titled something like Confederate Health or Rebel Health or something like that. But I figured I'd mention it here because I'm thinking this has a lot of promise, because I did notice there are researchers out there selling stuff, and I'm not selling you nothing, that are saying that there is an electronic way to have a liposome effect whereby vitamins and nutrients are absorbed directly into the cells. But they have this patented method, and it costs money, and I'm like, and you don't even know if it works because they could be all full of it. But then I do know something else that actually is very cheap. And they are claiming that you don't want to do anything while you're using this method because it super absorbs into the cells. But I'm thinking to myself, if everything super absorbs into the cells, there's one thing out there that is non-toxic in any amount that was ever tested by a doctor, and that is vitamin C. So right now I'm experimenting with those methods, and we're going to find out. And I'll be letting you know as we go along, because just remember that animals themselves most animals, like cats, dogs, almost all animals, It's humans, primates, guinea pigs, and one species of bat that don't have the capability of producing their own vitamin C. So it takes, with those type of mammals, like including us, right? When you get to maturity, you live 3 or 4 times whatever how long it takes to get to maturity. Okay. Other types of animals that produce their own vitamin C live 8 to 10 times however long it takes to get to maturity. So if it takes a year to get to maturity, they live 8 to 10 years. If it takes 2 years to get to maturity, they live, you know, whatever, 16 to 20 years, right? So that's how it works. So if we can get the same effect of, because like if you take oral vitamin C, it can help in minor ways. It can maybe extend your life a little longer, or maybe you won't get as sick as much or something, and maybe that's how it'll extend your life, because maybe you won't catch this cold that leads to a pneumonia that leads you in a hospital or something. But if you can actually get the vitamin C directly into your cells as if you were producing it yourself, you would actually live 8 to 10 times longer than the average human time it takes to get to maturity. So maturity is, 20 to 25 years, I don't know, whatever, something like that. So, 160 to 250 years old or something, right? That's what people would be living just with adding this capability of vitamin C. It's amazing. I almost think they know how to do this already, because we have all 4 genes to produce our own vitamin C. One of them is dormant. Now, on some people, the one dormant gene is not completely dormant. Some people will never get scurvy because they produce just enough vitamin C on their own. Very few. But they produce just enough vitamin C on their own that they won't get scurvy. But they don't produce copious amounts. It's actually theorized that mankind used to be able to do this. That's why those stories in the Bible where you hear people living from 700 years to 900 something years, it's probably dead on accurate, because maybe all 4 of those genes were working perfectly and we were producing copious amounts of vitamin C. Maybe the oxygen content of the earth was, had more oxygen in the air, or maybe we had more energies coming into the earth too. I don't know. I'm going to tell you, I think those stories, some people don't believe them because they're flat out atheists, and I'm not. It's fine even if you are an atheist, don't discount the accuracy of the Bible. Okay. Now, I'm thinking, the scientists today know how to get that 4th gene working, and that might be one of the secrets that the tech billionaires know that they're not giving us. But there might be an alternative way. There might be another way. I'm going to find out, and I am pretty sure this is going to work. It might take effort to make it work on a daily basis, but not that much effort. But the cost would be very, very, very low. So, anyway, that might be the ivory tower for the common man. How's that? And I don't want to, I talked about it on this other video that went pretty long. I think it was called like Confederate Rebel Health or something. If you want to go look at that, it's got like the Confederate flag. I was doing it on the hood of my 1978 El Camino outside in like real redneck fashion. But, hey, I'm throwing out gems, man. I'm throwing out gems. And actually, I'm trying to throw the gems out to the regular common people. Really, That's really what I'm trying to reach. So, anyway, but that I researched more about this topic, and also found out there's scientists out there selling special ways that you could do this for a certain amount of money. And I'm thinking it could be BS, but they got ways, electronic ways, to deliver um, vitamins in a liposomic manner, like as if they were liposomes. And I'm thinking, this is probably this part of the stuff these tech billionaires know. Because you just can't take a bunch of vitamins and expect your body to absorb this stuff. There's electronic ways where this might work. And one of the ways I think I'm doing right now is, well, it's dirt cheap. It's dirt cheap. Anyway, over and out. We'll be updating you on this, but I'm pretty damn excited about it because I think it's dead on balls accurate, as they might say, in simple language. Okay, over and out.